Hello everyone! In this video we'll be going over a new burning dropkick attack which has been discovered a few months ago, but I think it would be nice to have a video on that just to go a bit more in depth and explain what's really going on. BDK is the favorite side B of many people just because it's so good at recovering. It gives you an extra option, it has good damage, it has good follow-ups, but especially for recovering. The problem with BDK is that you have to kind of choose. Do you go to ledge or do you try to hit your opponent when recovering? If you go to ledge, you're vulnerable from above because it's quite easy to hit you there, and you're very vulnerable to 2 frames because it's easy to time. On the other hand, if you try to hit your opponent or hit their shield when they're standing at ledge, you'll be in a very bad position afterwards. Either they can dodge it and you're just completely screwed, or even if you hit a shield, for example, you'll still be in a bad position because you drift back so far and the opponent can still go for 2 frame afterwards. Now, what if I told you you can do both with the tech found by Blue Skies? Because this enables you to hit both their shield or the opponent and still snap to ledge directly. In this video I'll explain how you should do that, how it really works, and how it can be really broken if you use it correctly. So to get started and explain a bit more here. If you hit a shield or a wall, you bounce off with BDK, you can slightly influence how far you drift, and you'll have lots of lag and land very far away. On the other hand, if you hit a ledge directly, you can snap directly to it, but you're very vulnerable to 2 frames because it's a very easy timing to hit, and also to just hit you from above beforehand. But if you aim to hit the very lower part of the opponent's shield, then you'll have the chance to still hit their shield and instantly snap ledge afterwards. This has multiple factors working into it how it works. So what I found is that you can't do BDK from too far or else it won't snap. And you also can't do it from too high or you'll just bounce off. And not too low because you'll just snap to ledge. So you want to aim for the lower part of their shield or their hitbox and initiate the BDK relatively close to ledge. This does limit its usability in some way because you can do it from far away, but it's still quite the distance just because BDK has a very good acceleration. So we'll try to aim for the lower part of their shield while being relatively close to ledge, and you don't have to hold anything. I usually just hold towards the ledge, I don't know if that makes a difference, but that will help you to snap to ledge and still hit their shield. If you do hit their shield and snap to ledge right afterwards, the opponent has about 8 frames of advantage on you, so they can act out of their shield 8 frames before you can do something again. But only if they do something like an up B or an up smash or jump or roll or spot dodge, stuff like that. If they drop shield, then you actually have 3 frames of advantage. Why is all that so important and so good? Well, the best part about hitting someone's shield, you can also just hit their body, but if you hit someone's shield, is that BDK does some quite good shield damage. So after you hit a shield, on most characters, you have at least 1 or 2 moves that can successfully shield both them afterwards. The best moves to do that depend always on the character, on their shield size and on your specific moveset, but the best ones I found are up air, FMP and neutral air. The best thing about most of these moves, especially up air, is that they are so quick that the opponent literally cannot drop their shield, dash away and punish you for going for an up air. Because if they drop shield, they have 3 frames in disadvantage and you need 9 frames for your up air to come out. So they have 6 frames to dash away and that won't usually be enough to punish you for it. They can still jump away or spot dodge or do whatever to punish you, so it's definitely not entirely safe. But it's very, very quick compared to the amount of shield stun that BDK does, so you're relatively safe doing it. If you are good at your combos and you have a platform nearby and the opponent is at around 60% or even less, you can get a kill out of hitting an up air from ledge. An almost guaranteed up air because they can't shield it. Of course, this all sounds great, but it does have some restrictions. The first restriction is that you do have to be relatively close to ledge, so you can't do it from too far away. For example, I also haven't really gotten it to work with the B reverse or wave bounce BDK, so the extra speed can help, but that didn't really work. On the other hand, it doesn't really matter how far away the opponent is because you have quite the window to still get this ledge snap. If they're really not standing at ledge at all, then of course it doesn't work, but in that case you also don't have to be scared of 2 frames or anything in most cases, so it's quite safe in that regard. The second thing is that the spacing of your shield pokes isn't quite that easy. If you want to get an up air shield poke, for example, you have to specifically space so the hitbox of up air starts on their head. If you start your up air anywhere else below that point, you won't get a shield poke and they will just shield the move regularly, so you have to aim for their head, which will of course change depending on the character with your timing. The best counterplay against all this then is of course that the opponent could tilt their shield towards you so you can't hit their head with an up air or any other move. But of course that depends on whether they know the counterplay, whether they can reaction time, and I think in that case they would already just roll away or jump away if they knew it was coming. But they can do it, so yeah, you gotta be careful of that and not use it too often. It's more of a surprise to me. Regarding on which characters it works, I have only tested a few ones and it seems to work on smaller characters and larger characters and medium characters, at least from what I tested in a short amount of time. And the punishes of course depend on the character. Sometimes the best thing you can do is a down air after jumping up. On some characters you have very great spacing and can get an F&P right after jumping, so it's really up to your creativity. And if you ever play in bracket against someone and want to figure out what to do before, I recommend just going 5 minutes into practice tool and see what kind of moves you can hit after you get a BDK amount of shield damage. That's it for the video today. If you have any more suggestions or notes for how to use this tech, please leave them in the comments, and I would appreciate a like and subscription of course. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.